Let's take a look at the fundamentals of Africa Oil Corporation. This is a small cap company listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange and the Stockholm Stock Exchange. Market cap for this company is slightly above a billion Canadian. They are in line in terms of value with competitors, although there's potential for a whole lot more growth in this case. Small cap, so always with a certain amount of risk as well. They are paying a small dividend, and this is something that they introduced quite recently. If we look at the finance tabs on Google Economics, we can see that they do not have revenue listed here, and there's a perfectly fine reason for that. It's quite difficult to look at the concern accounting level and actually understand the reporting here, so it's harder to just drag data, and not listed in US, so it's not the same requirements in this case. Let's take a quick look at some fundamentals, some information regarding this company, the strategy that they have, and the potential kickers for stock price going forward. So we have management's discussion here. They call it MD&A. For some reason, they choose to make it even more difficult to just write this out and read it by making certain abbreviations. We can see a whole big list of those here, but those are more reasonable, some of them. Anyways, let's take a look at the profile and strategy here of this company. So Africa Oil is a Canadian oil and gas company with producing and development assets in deep water offshore Nigeria. The company also has a portfolio of exploration and appraisal assets in West and South of Africa, as well as Guyana. The company holds its interest through direct ownership interest in concessions and through its shareholdings in investee companies, including Prime, Impact, and Africa Energy and Echo. And in the report, they divide into these different holdings where they have different percentages and list revenues specifically for each group. The company's common share are listed, I already said that in the beginning of the video. Africa Oil's long-term plan is to deliver sustainable shareholder value through the development and production associated with its existing asset portfolio, acquisition and producing assets, exploration, very important one, and monetization value from its shareholdings in its investee companies. Africa Oil's focus on its Nigerian assets, Namibian Orange Basin, opportunity set, and then the location of it. It's called blocks. It's the economic rights to explore and drill for oil, and there's a split negotiated between government, for example, and oil company in these cases. So South Africa's Orange Basin and Equatorial Guinean exploration blocks. The companies, and this is the kicker, this is where we get to the growth potential. But before we go into this next part of the company presentation, I need to remember to make a quick comment here on the exploration part. This is a reason for the huge volatility. I know that a lot of my audience is a bit older, and if you watched Discovery Channel in the 90s, early 2000s, well, you might have seen shows such as Black Gold, where they just try to drill for oil in the desert in Texas, and a lot of those holes turned up dry indeed. So it's a bit of a hit and miss game. It's a bit of a lottery. I remember this looking at Shamaran Petroleum back in the days when they were looking for oil in the Kurdistan region in Iraq. And the exploration part is indeed the lottery part. And as you saw in the stock price here in the beginning, as soon as there are conversations about big findings of oil, well, then we see big jumps in share price and with price increases as well in oil. So just very volatile company, although valuation now is fine, and we also see this slight dividend here. Anyways, this is the unique part of the company. the investment opportunity for its exposure to the Venus light oil and associated gas discovery offshore Namibia, and it's the only publicly listed independent oil and gas company with an effective economic interest in this field. So the Venus discovery, understood to be the largest oil discovery globally in 2022, has partially de-risked a new petroleum province in the Orange Basin that has significant prospectivity. So they believe that there's a lot of potential to indeed find big oil reserves and get the oil out of the ground, so to say, at a price that's economically viable. Africa Oil's potentially high impact appraisal and exploration catalysts are complemented by its production and cash flowing assets in Nigeria, which it holds through its 50% shareholding in Prime. Prime is a Nigeria-focused company with interest in, and then the blocks here, that accounts for all of Africa Oil's reserves and production, and PPL blocks again. The aforementioned PML province is the company with the long life cash flowing asset base to support its business objectives over long term, including shareholder capital returns. Alright, so what this means is that they have already fields that are producing oil, that's generating revenue, earnings, and they're using these earnings to fund exploration, to drill these holes, to try to find more oil, and then it's going to be expensive to put out equipment there as well. That's going to cost a lot. But they also have some excess capital that they cannot find a good use for, so they're paying that out as just dividends in this case. And I talked a bit about this years ago when the discovery was first made, the potential of this, and just how much money could be made from an oil field like that. But as we will see in the comments further down regarding highlights here, you can pause and read if you want. We can see that they have been doing exploration basically still and looking in, and they are not really extracting value from the block yet. So there's a lot of potential indeed, and just by developing the field and getting production in play, well, we can expect a rather large jump in revenue, and then profitability will depend on oil price, of course. But this is very difficult to time. It's very hard to know when these things are going to be done. I think one way to go would be to look at average development time of an offshore oil field and try to make some rough estimate there to know when's a good time to start building a larger portfolio. I'm on top of this one. I have a mid-sized position in Africa Oil, but I will not be looking to increase it further right now. I will be looking to increase in a property company and a life science company in favor of that. But this one I wanted to do an update on. It's a bit of a lottery ticket, so to say, but they have cash flow and operations in place already. I will put a link to the earnings report here as well, so you can check it out at your own pace when you do research on the stock. And as always, hope you guys make a ton of money, whatever investments you decide to make. Take care now. Bye bye.